Hello and welcome back to Football Manager Projects. You're looking live here at the scene from Rio Tinto Stadium in Sandy, Utah, as Real Salt Lake will take on Tigres, and we're going to hope and pray that we're able to get through this game one way or another. As you can see here from the tactics screen, we have a lot of rotation going on this time around, including both wingers are definitely not our first choices. Dirkner's back on despite his poor performances. We're trying once again with Fonseca, and we're going to see what happens. Semple barely has the ability to play that position. This is going to be a fun game. We'll see how this match works. Because if this match works hopefully the way that we want, maybe we get a loss of 1-0 or 2-1, or we could also get completely creamed. We tell the lads, we want you to go out there, play your hardest, let's go get a result. But we say that a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and we kind of know what to expect from this, and off we go. Tigres kind of knocking the ball all around the place, showing off a little bit. I'm more than happy to let them pass if they want to pass back and forth like that for the whole game. Let them do that instead of getting shots on goal like this one. That's where we worry. We worry about the crosses coming through, and we worry about our defenders being completely outclassed. But we'll see what happens. You never know what's going to happen in the game until you actually go back and play it. And some of these young players really do have some potential and have talent that is quickly developing. Up to Tonin to Biros, who has one goal on the season, a 16-year-old. Wasn't really able to get anything on that one. But we do have our hopes up for him, and you never know what will happen. That's the reason why we play the games, and that's the reason why you come and watch them. That was a pretty good ball forward there by Burke up to Tonin. For those who haven't been watching this save, Tonin is our main scorer, a 19-year-old who has, I believe, 8 goals for us so far in the season, but he's pretty inconsistent. 4 of those goals came in the second match we had of the season, and that looked really bad. Luis Quinones showing his speed and his talent and his technique with the ball, and I'm not really quite sure what our defenders could have done to stop that. Maybe just simply not let him go past. And who is it that he beats here? Let's see if I can get it to tell me. Sabanganau, yeah, our Romanian there on the right back side was just completely beat on that play. And so it is. Less than 10 minutes in, and we're down 1-0 already. But we keep our hopes up in front of the home crowd. Amazing to look at that home crowd, too. Look at that sellout, despite the fact that we are completely outclassed and we're having such a bad season. Sabanganau learned how to play his man that time. You got to play the man. Don't just play the ball. Please don't just play the ball. We're doing okay. We're knocking the ball back and forth, and here we go. Now we're going to have a little bit of build-up. Just a little bit, though. The way that this offense works is we try to get the ball pushed forward as quickly as we possibly can in hopes, for example, of the back not giving up a goal like we just gave up to Gonzalez, and this is exactly what I feared was going to happen in this match. Again, Sabanganau allows his man to get past him, and we need better central defenders. That's all I can say about this. Not even close to being in position, not even close to back. I don't think that there's anybody who would be able to make the stop on that one. I can't blame Schubert for letting that one go in behind him. And Burke has picked up an injury early on. So it's going to be another one of those matches, and we'll do the best that we can to deal with it. I think we will just put Oliveira back on. I usually don't like to do what the assistant manager tells me to do so early in the match. But in this case, I think we need to think about the future. We have a big December coming up ahead of us. I think if I counted right, it's 8 matches in December, which means there's not a whole lot of time for us to rest. We need to rotate. Everybody's on call. And hopefully we need to start playing a little bit better than this. If we keep this poor run of form on, I am very, very concerned that the board is going to want my head, which means that this project might come to an abrupt end. We'll see what happens, though. We've done well so far in staying just out of the relegation zone, despite giving up all sorts of goals. There's another one for Gonzalez, who has a brace here on half an hour. This match is, for all intents and purposes, over. Like I said, we will do the best that we can to try to keep it forward, but we're being beaten in the back over and over and over again. And we can't expect Schubert to be able to stop these guys when he's put in one-on-one situations. Especially looking at Sempel in the back, who is not the player I wanted to start. We have this Iranian kid who's almost 2 meters tall, who's I think 15 or 16 years old. The problem is he's not match fit. Otherwise, I would start him and just sort of like see what he could do for us. But we need a little bit better fitness from these boys. That was an idea. That's not what we want him to do there. We want to see a cross instead of a wild shot that's aimed at nothing. But so it is. Nobody going to this match really gave us any sort of a chance, but we hope that we're not going to be too embarrassed. There's Gonzalez with his hat trick, and that's really the end of it. 4-0 like that, right before halftime. So this may end up being one of those really embarrassing scorelines. Onwoha, by the way, I think this may be his final game for us. He is retiring at the very beginning of December. I don't remember if it's December 1st or 2nd. And, of course, he was too far back, allowing that to not be offsides. If it's December 2nd, we might have him for the next match against Seattle. I've been starting him every single game, regardless of how tired or how alert or awake he is, just because he's retiring soon. You might as well get everything you can out of him. Hey, we did something good there. We were able to stop that attack, and here comes Tonin on the run. Tonin is good with his shooting ability, although he wasn't there. My problem with him is that he's slow, and you could see that there as he was being bothered by the defender. The reason why I like Rodriguez and Carmona is because they are very, very quick and can get around players instead of sort of barging their way forward the way that Tonin did there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, and we'll see what we can get out of this. We're going to thrash the arms. That was absolutely terrible. Derkner is having an awful game. My problem with Derkner is that Cardozo is not that much better. But if Derkner keeps playing like this, I mean, we need to get rid of him. We're putting Richard, who is a player that we got in a free transfer. Fonseca is also having an absolutely awful game. You'll notice that Holm is not on the bench, and I deliberately left him off the bench. The reason why I didn't put Holm on is simply because I wanted to rest him. I didn't want to have that temptation to put him into this sort of period, especially in a game that I figured that we were probably going to lose anyway. We might as well, if we know we're going to lose, we might as well put out a sort of underpowered youth side and see what we can get out of it and hope for something that's not too embarrassing. And, I mean, all being said, this isn't the first match in which we've given up 4 goals right from the very start. I mean, it could be worse. We're going to probably have to take Pinter off here in a second. I'm going to wait for us to get to probably around the 60-minute mark, and then we'll see what we can do. Yeah, it's the tactic that I'm using is not really much by way of a defensive tactic. The whole idea here is to score goals quickly and to get open slots like the one that Roxo was trying to push Biros into. It's a very, very good thought. It's just that the execution that time around was not quite all there. The real key to this tactic is having good players on the wings. If you have good wing players, you can do some real interesting things with this, and you can start scoring goals, even if you have a team that's totally underperforming. That was very, very close there on the side. A little bit more quality, I think, from our left wing, and we might have been able to make something happen and sort of surprise people here or there. Pinter's coming out. We're putting Cruz on. Technically, we want... Oh, I can't make any more substitutions. Well, so much for that. Well, and the reason why is because we had our injury that I completely forgot about. I was about to say normally we want Cruz to play back in the left back position, but from time to time, and that's Tonin with an excellent goal. Was he onside? Genius by Tonin. It wasn't much genius to it. He just sort of stood there and waited for the ball. Let's look at what happens. There's Cardozo with that excellent interception, just knocks it in there to Tonin, who gets it first time and puts it by his man. 4-1. I told you we had a little bit of life in this club. Not all is lost, not all is over. We are going to lose this match, I'll tell you that, but that doesn't mean that we can't take at least some sort of positive out of it. And so far, the second half has looked actually pretty good. Ignore the awful ratings. We're going to be positive, and we're going to maybe accept our fate, but also be very, very happy that at least we're not in 23rd or 24th position yet. But of course, we will see what happens, and we'll see what we can do to try to get the board on our side. The beginning of the season, the board told me to avoid being relegated. That was with our original roster. Before I completely blew up the Real Salt Lake roster and went on this insane spending spree, spending about 19 million pounds on a bunch of unknown teenagers. I know that I can be criticized for making that type of move, but I figure that we'd probably be just as badly off, and that's a beautiful goal by Tonin. Really, really well done. That's what can happen with this tactic on those sides. That was a really good play by Oliveira, and we're hoping to see a little bit more of that. Oliveira coming down, and he just gets that beautiful ball inside to Tonin. What did I just say about Tonin? He doesn't quite have that pace. He showed a little bit of pace on that one. 4-2, I think, really flatters us and does us well. 2 more for Tonin that should give him up to 10 and at least put him back sort of into the hunting for the goal-scoring award for the season. With that, that's probably going to be the end of it here and the end of the shouting. I was just about to say that I can be criticized for bringing on a lot of young players, but honestly, with our original roster, we were probably going to wind up in the same position in the league anyway. So say what you want. I would rather have a little bit of adventure and give some of these unknown and new-gen type players a chance and see what we can do. If we go down, we were going to go down anyway. There's no harm in that. I just hope, though, that the board remembers that they were anticipating us having a relegation battle at the beginning of the season and that they don't decide to just completely sack me for being close to relegation. Because that would be really sad. I'm kind of getting to like this save a lot and getting to like some of these players, even the ones who don't perform. Last second corner, we're going to get some last second corner magic. Sabangano did not have a very good delivery, and that is the end of the match. Well, I certainly hope that you enjoyed that. 4-2, it's another loss for us, but there are a lot of positives I think that we can take away from that. If you haven't already, and if you enjoy what you see, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment for me on YouTube. Come visit the blog. My blog link is in the description of the video. You can come visit and see what's going on and learn more about the save. And thank you very much. Talk to you tomorrow.